Good morning. On behalf of the RDIAC, my name is Jeff Cameron. It's my privilege and honor to welcome Lee Rosin today with 911 with the RCMP. Lee, I'm going to leave it at that and let you take her away. I'm really excited to have you here for us here and the students today.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. Hi, everybody. My name's Lee. I've been with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in their Communications Centre for not quite 19 years now. It'll be 19 years in July. And my whole career has basically been about radio in one form or another. I started out in radio broadcasting and then eventually got into actually being on the entertainment side of it and more informal now, more informal rather. The joke that I use all the time is, as a police dispatcher, I get to tell cops where to go. And there's actually kind of a funny thing because that's actually what I do for a living. So working with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, and the Communications Centre is one of the best jobs I've ever had. And we are actively recruiting people to do this job. It's exciting. It's fun. It's got really good federal government benefits. And I'm so excited to tell you about the opportunities within the RCMP that you don't have to wear a uniform to do. So what does it look like when you are an RCMP 911 dispatcher? Well, the one I'm talking about, the hiring process I'm talking about today, is specifically for working within Saskatchewan. Every single, with very minor exceptions, every single RCMP vehicle that you see on any road in Saskatchewan is dispatched out of Regina, all the way from Fond du Lac, our most northern community, to one of our most southern, Carnduff for Coronach. Our most eastern detachment is Creighton, Saskatchewan, and our most western is Onion Lake, and everything in between. We dispatch, it's probably around 1,200 police officers, and they're all done out of Regina. So the job that I'm recruiting for specifically is for Saskatchewan RCMP in Regina. And it is shift work. We work 12 hours. 4 on, 4 off is the term that we use. So it's normally 2 days, 2 nights, and then 4 days off. There's wonderful benefits and advantages to working shift work. All of the training is done right in Regina, right in our communications center. We have our own secluded classroom. So not only do you get to study and learn the trade right within the communications center, you get to experience the entire ambiance, for lack of a better term, right within the communications center. So let's get right down to basics. What do you need to qualify to apply to become an RCMP 911 dispatcher in Saskatchewan? It's pretty simple, and it's very similar to what you need to become an RCMP officer. Number one, you need to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. You need to have one or the other. You have to be at least 18 years of age or older, and you have to have a Canadian grade 12 high school diploma or a Canadian equivalent. And you have to be proficient in English. It doesn't have to be your first language, but you have to be able to read, write it, and comprehend it at a very high level. If you are bilingual, that is awesome. English, French, any other language. If you're trilingual, that is excellent. When it comes specifically to English, French, we do have bilingual positions open on our staff, but I need you to understand it is a myth. You do not need to be English, French bilingual to work with the RCMP. You don't. That's a myth that we need to bust apart, as long as you are proficient in English. And be of good character. Make sure that you don't have a criminal record, something like that. All of our job postings, all of our hiring process is done online. So you don't have to worry about coming to Regina and having to apply in person. It's all done online. We only accept applications during an active job posting, and we literally just had one close at the end of February. But we are always looking for people to join our team. So what are we looking for? What are we looking for skills, personality types? Well, obviously, good communication skills. But that doesn't mean you have to be an A-type personality. You don't have to be the life of the party. You don't have to be the noisiest person, the funniest person in the room. We have not only a lot of extroverts on our staff, we do, but we also have lots of introverts, people that are a little bit quieter, but they possess exemplary communication skills. They are easily understood, and they also understand and comprehend things at a very fast level as well. So you don't have to be the loudest person in the room, but you have to be able to communicate effectively. We are looking for people who have people skills. So if you work at McDonald's, if you're a babysitter, if you pack groceries in your small town community store, if you volunteer, anything that has to work retail of any sort, if you have been dealing with the public, that is a really big thing to include on your resume and your application with us, because we are a people-centered job. We are here to help people who are in crisis, quite often having probably one of the worst days of their lives, and we are there to help them. We're also there to help dispatch the RCMP officers and be of service to them as well when we are dispatching them on the radio. So if you include that on your resume, that is noticed as well. If you belong to any sort of organized activity, whether it's sports, whether it's hockey, whether you play ball, whether you're in 4-H, whether you are in a dance group, whether you are in an archery club, be sure to include that, because that shows us that you actively are effective within a team atmosphere. You will be part of a big team, not only the huge team that is the RCMP, but also the teams that work at a very high level within our communication center. Be sure to include that on your resume as well. So those are some of the basic things that we are looking for when we start looking at strong candidates that are a good fit for this job. What else do you need? Well, you need to be able to type. You don't have to be laser fast. You do not have to be as fast as Penelope Garcia on Criminal Minds. You don't have to be that fast. 40 words per minute. It's not super fast. It's a pretty good clip, but you don't have to be a whiz on the keyboard, but you do have to have a 95% accuracy, which is important because getting an address correctly or getting a phone number correctly, getting somebody's name correctly can be life or death. So we need to have as high accuracy as possible. You also need to be able to multitask. I know that that's a term that we hear about all the time when it comes to multitasking, but what does that mean for us? We have to be literally able to do two things at once. When it comes to typing, I want you to think about it this way. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of typing exams online that you can practice to get your speed up. And I highly recommend you do that if you're interested in this job. But 98% of what I type at work, I'm hearing. I'm not reading. I'm listening to what a police officer is saying to me on the air. I am typing what people are telling me on the phone that they are seeing, that they are experiencing, and the information that I need. So I'm listening to it. So what can you do to prepare to get ready for our typing exam and our multi-level or our multitasking exam, which is called critical? It's our entrance exam. So here's some fun things that I recommend that you do to get ready for the exam. Number one, listen to your favorite music and see if you can keep up with the lyrics. And once you get used to that, put on music that you're not familiar with and see if you can keep up with the lyrics. It doesn't have to be verbatim, and it doesn't have to be spelled absolutely correctly at the beginning, once you get used to the pace. Have somebody read you a quick little short story. You can type notes, you can write notes, or you can type up what you think is the actual moral of the story or the gist of the story, and have them ask you questions. At the beginning, you can look at your notes and see if you can use them to give them the answers back to the questions. The other thing you can do is put those notes away and answer the questions to see if you've got memory recall and how much you comprehended. Start listening to a movie or a TV. Type what you hear. Don't look at the TV or the screen. Type what you hear. Someone's walking, car starting, talking in the background, water running, it's raining, someone is running. Try doing that, because what that does is you are typing what you're hearing and not what you're seeing. And that is a critical component of what we do as 911 operators and police dispatchers. So what's the difference between call taking and dispatching? I know that I have used those terms kind of interchanging, and I want to tell you what the difference is. There are two different components to the job that we do within my communication center. You're a call taker and a dispatcher. When you work for the RCMP in their communication center, you have to be able to do both. So what is a call taker? Let's define that. A call taker is someone literally who is answering the phone, handling emergency and non-emergency calls from the public. So what's a non-emergent phone call to the RCMP? Hi, I need to get a criminal record check. What time is the detachment open today? I think I might have missed paying my speeding ticket. Where do I need to go? I was given an inspection ticket from a police officer 3 weeks ago, and I got my windshield fixed. When can I come in? My license plate was stolen. I don't know where my vehicle's been stolen. Non-emergency calls. Intermixed with those, they might be emergency calls that are very typical. 911 or emergency call, I've just been involved in a car accident and I need help. My vehicle's been stolen. I can't find my 14-year-old brother hasn't come home from school. Missing person. That's the type of thing that we handle as a 911 operator and as a call taker. Sometimes we will be entering in what's called a call for service, and police officers will be dispatched for that. And sometimes police don't need to be involved. Sometimes they just need some information. The phone number on where to get questions answered about maybe getting registering your firearms, that sort of thing. So we give you the communication skills and we teach you how to handle those types of situations. Now you can imagine what it's like to hear somebody on the phone that's having an emergency. They're home alone and someone's breaking into their house. They've just been in a car accident. We teach you how to try and get a hold of that conversation and trying to get the information that we need to get them help, and also so that we can get police officers there safely. All of that is encompassed with being taught how to be a call taker. After we teach you how to do that, now we're going to teach you how to become a dispatcher. And those are the operators that are talking to the police officers on the radio. So those are the ones that you hear within the car radios, and you sometimes see them with earpieces. They're either listening to another police officer or a dispatcher is telling them where they need to go, where police presence has been requested. We teach you how everything that goes along with that, about criminal records, and we teach them 10 codes on how to keep things abbreviated and discreet and confidential on the air. We teach them about the computer systems and how to properly sound on the air and how to dispatch files. So it is a lot of learning. It's a very, very, very important job, and it is in many ways the best backup and the most consistent backup our RCMP officers have. We work with them 24/7, 365 days a year, through Saskatchewan blizzards, through Saskatchewan storms. We are there working around the clock through holidays with them. And sometimes we get to be very, very good friends with them, even though we've never actually met them, because they're way up north or they're way down south, or we don't get to see them because we just talk to them on the radio and we talk to them on the phone. So why would you want to apply to the RCMP? Well, it's Canada's national force. And as you know, the Stetson and that red surge and the britches and the musical ride, the RCMP is one of the most iconic icons across the world. The RCMP is recognized right across the world. And to some, that's pretty cool. And it is to me. I love being a police dispatcher. I love working for the RCMP because of the advantages and the opportunities it has given me. I've been able to work in other parts of Canada. I probably would never have gone on my own. I spent a July working in Whitehorse, Yukon, doing relief work there, so operators up north could go on a holiday and get a break from the north. I've worked in Yellowknife. I've been able to see other parts of Canada. I've done training in Ottawa, and that's all part and paid for by the RCMP. I've also made the best friends of my life within this organization, and for that, I will be ever thankful. I also love knowing that I work with some of the finest people who are so dedicated to the citizens of Saskatchewan, because many of us were literally dispatching and helping people within our own hometown. My hometown is Outlook in Saskatchewan here, and I have family that still live there. So it's really important to me, and I love working within my home province. But if that's not something you're interested in, if you'd like to go see other parts of Canada, excellent, because there are RCMP Communication Center in every single province and territory. So if you want to spend a couple of years in Saskatchewan, get all trained up, become a rock star dispatcher and call taker, and then you think to yourself, you know what? I've always wanted to go out east. I've always wanted to work in the Maritimes. So you decide, you know what? I'm going to move to Prince Edward Island. I want to work in, let's say you want to work in Newfoundland, or you want to work in Nova Scotia, or you want to go up north. You want to live the northern experience. You want to work in Iqaluit. Great. We have communication centers there, and we will train you, and we will help move you up there so that you can dispatch and call take for those areas of Canada. The RCMP is a wonderful organization to work for. I know that this probably isn't going to mean a lot to you for high schoolers that are watching, but if you talk to your parents about it, you also get enrolled in the public service benefits plan. You also start accumulating and working towards a federal government pension, which is a very, very good pension. When you're 18, 19, and 20 years of age, probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but trust me, when you get to be my age, it's really important, and it's a wonderful advantage to have. If you happen to have any questions whatsoever, please do not hesitate to reach out, and I will send you some information on how to get ready. And if you have any other questions I may not have addressed here, by all means, send me an email or get in touch with Jeff, and I will send you any information that you would like. When it comes to our training, it's all done within our communication center, and it is paid training. When you walk into the classroom and you sign on the dotted line and you get hired, you're going to be making right around $62,000 a year. After a year, there's almost like an entire year of training, start to finish. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not all in the classroom. You get a bump in pay, and then you get a bump in pay every year for 5 years, topping out just over $80,000. And there's an opportunity to make extra money. And if you want to work overtime, it's not mandatory. You can certainly do that. So it's a very, very good paying job as well. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Well, Lee, thanks so much. You've, I think, pretty
You're
much answered so many questions. That was an excellent presentation. Really stuck with me right off the start. For the students out there, if you want a job with the RCMP but really don't want to wear the uniform, you're set to go through 911. And of course, everyone's heard of 911, whether it be through your own phone or emergency calls or on TV. It's such an iconic job and such an important job for the citizens. When you talked about shift work a little bit, can you explain that a little bit? You went over the money and the training.
Right.
Just go with some shift work a little bit.
Absolutely. We work 11s and 12s, and primarily our shifts are 6 in the morning till 6 at night. Every once in a while, you might start at 7 in the morning and work at 6 at night, or you start at 6 and you're done at 5. And then that flips. You'll start at 6 o'clock at night and work until 6 in the morning, or a variation there. And so there'll be some months that, just because of how that schedule cycles through the calendar, you might work every weekend. But then there's some months where you'll have every weekend off. The benefit of being a shift worker, though, is having those days off in the middle of the week. And I love that as a mom, because I was able to be a chaperone to in the middle of the week on my kids' activities, where parents who work Monday through Friday don't have that advantage. I also like being able to go shopping in the stores at 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday rather than on the weekend when it's so much more busy. And I was able to coach my children's basketball teams because it gave me the advantage of being able to being off during the week. On the flip side of that, though, too, Jeff, is sometimes you're going to have to work Christmases and Easters and Thanksgivings and Rider games and Pats games and Rush games and Husky games and Cougar games. But you can make shift trades to try and get that time off, but that's not always what happens. But the wonderful thing about working within any communication center is like this. But I can speak honestly, the RCMP is when you are working away on those special holidays, it is bittersweet because you're missing out on what normally your family's probably enjoying, but you're with your second family at work. And knowing the Saskatchewan RCMP Communications Center, there's going to be food involved. So you're never going to starve working shift work because there's so many of us that love to cook and bake. So even though you're away from your family during those holidays, you're with your second family, which makes it so much easier and so much more comforting than being away from the folks that that you grew up with. You're working with wonderful people that are literally second family.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about benefits, Lee, within the federal government?
Yeah, absolutely. It is as soon as you sign in the classroom, we get you right enrolled in our public service benefits plan. There's dental, there's healthcare. All of that gets done as soon as you walk into the classroom. So once that all kicks in, I know that there's that waiting period or something. It's before paperwork. It's a matter of weeks before paperwork gets all filed, but it's a wonderful benefit plan. And as soon as you walk into the classroom, we've had people who get hired at 19 and 20 years old, someone who started when they're 18, mostly 19 by the time they're done school and get through the application process. And to be able to have that benefits package, to be able to start paying into a pension when you're 19 years old or 20 years old, huge advantage. So and the retirement, the federal government pension is also a really good pension to be a part of as well.
Wonderful. Like with a typical year, so there's a lot of hands-on. You're learning to type, of course, the communication, but you're on job too in a 1 year training, somewhat.
Right. So excellent question. So when you walk into the classroom, the first part is the call taking class. And we teach you how to deal with emergency and non-emergency calls. You're also learning some RCMP history. You're learning about everything that when it comes to communications, dealing with hysterical callers, dealing with how to properly enter calls into our dispatch system, that sort of thing. And the class runs between 3 to 4 weeks, depending on how many people are in the class. And so that is all within class, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. And there are theory exams and there are scenario-based marked exams where someone calls in and pretends to be a caller and acts, and you have to use different types of communication skills on how to deal with that type of caller. And then after, you have to get 80% or higher to pass on that. So once that happens, then you go out onto the floor with a coach. And it's really like any movie you've seen where there's the rookie cop with the senior police officer. It's basically the same thing within the communication center, but you're sitting beside your veteran 911 operator at the same system. And they are teaching you how to deal with calls in the live environment. So you're actually talking to the public. And after you've passed the classroom, then you go out into the floor and learn call taking in the live environment. And that can be anywhere between 2 to 3 months, 4 months. And we need to see progress in your skills and confidence and everything that goes along with learning that job. After about the 3 or 4 month period in the live environment, we yank you back into the classroom. And now we teach you how to be a dispatcher. We're teaching you 10 codes. We're teaching you the phonetic alphabet. We are teaching you how to properly and professionally dispatch calls on the air, how to control your emotions if something risky or high risk is happening with a police officer. We teach you all of that in classroom. And it really is the same process, just over again. The dispatch class, depending on how many people are in the classroom, it can run anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Same thing. You need 80% or higher to pass. You need to have there's scenario-based exams where we have somebody on a radio that pretends to be a police officer, and you are dispatching them on the air. You are entering things within our dispatch system, and then you go back out of the out onto the floor in the live environment with your coach. And now they're sitting beside you and they're teaching you how to dispatch police officers on the air. 3 to 4 months again. So start to, and then you get signed off once you've had it. There's also exams and interspersed in there, Jeff, which is part of the process as well. So start to finish, from the very first day you walk into the classroom to the end, runs right around 10 months to a year. Now that sounds like a lot, but it's not all classroom. Much of that is on the floor. And I know that that can sound staggering or that can sound overwhelming to somebody, but I need people to understand how important the job is that we do. We are dealing with people on sometimes the very worst day of their lives. We need to know how to handle that. And we're also dealing with high risk situations when we're dealing with police officers. We need to know how to deal with that. So it's such an important job, but it's such a great job. So if anybody is interested in this career at all, one of the things, your question triggered something in my mind. I've been asked many times, if you love the RCMP so much, why didn't you become a police officer? And I can't say that I didn't think about becoming a police officer, but it was never a high priority because I'm a chicken. I love being part of the whole law enforcement catching bad guys. And I'm a nosy Rosie. I like knowing what's going on. And that is one of the things we like to see in candidates as well. And this is really a basic example I'm going to be providing. But are you the type of person who you get back to school on Monday and you were out of town with family, but there was a big party? Hey, who was there? Who were they with? What kind of, did he get a new truck? Okay, where did you guys go to after? Who was there? You guys got stopped by the police? Who was it? What were they driving? What was she wearing? Who were they with? If you are that person, this might be the job for you. Because if you have that natural inclination to want to know what's going on, what are you doing, without being too overt and getting on people's nerves, this is the job for you. But I don't want to go out there and catch the bad guys. I will tell police officers who are highly trained, hey, there's a bad guy in that house over there and they say he's got a gun. You go do whatever you need to do. I will stay here. I will type everything you say. I will send you every resource you need. I will do everything I can to provide you the best, most accurate and efficient information as possible, but I'm going to stay right here in my secure area. So this is a wonderful way to be a part of that whole juggernaut that is law enforcement, but not become a police officer. And we have had people who have been on the fence about being a police officer, or been on the fence about being a conservation officer, even possibly joining the military. This is a wonderful way to be exposed to that type of work, to find out if this is for you. Of course, we've had people who have joined our team and gone on to become RCMP officers, 100%. But we've also had people go on to become paramedics and have gone on to do other jobs within the RCMP, crime analysts and that sort of thing. It's a wonderful place to start if you're interested in law enforcement in any capacity.
Well, Lee, on behalf of the RDIC, thank you so much for your clarity, for your precision. You've hit every avenue, I'm sure, and you've explained it. And I just know that there'll be some kids out there that have a peek at this, and I'm sure it's going to quirk some interest. So thank you so much. And yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate the opportunity to tell people about how great this job is, and how, if you have any questions whatsoever, give me a call, send me an email. Love to